So, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another video here on the Frickflyers office, YouTube channel, whatever. And before we start, I want to make a few announcements. Nothing too special. Firstly, this is the last episode of the Mutant series. It's not to say that I'm going to stop jumping the Mutant. Obviously, I'm going to continue to jump it. This is because I feel like from now on, it's not really about learning the Mutant. It's more about just using the knowledge that I've already acquired. I feel like my technique and the way I fly is enough to get gold medals, win the championships that if I do get the chance to compete in them and if they go good. So it's not a matter of performance, it's a matter of consistency. This means that I'm just gonna have to repeat over and over and over and over again until I get good to beat the rest of the competition, which is really tough because people are really good, but slowly and surely we'll walk towards that direction. Also, the only thing that's going to be worthy of an update in terms of the Mutant progression will be the South Africa World Championships, because it's very high elevation. But I'll still do a normal debrief where I'll talk just as much as I did on the previous debriefs, and I'll include all of the new knowledge that I acquire about the Mutant. There might be a Mutant series part 2, but it will be with a different type of Mutant, but I cannot go into too much detail on that. Secondly, the next episodes will start the Road to the World Cup series. I have done in the past vlogs on my competitions, but they end up never being really interesting. I at least don't like to do them, and I feel like even though some people might enjoy watching them, I'm sorry, but it's not really my thing. But I'm gonna be with Max this time, and it's just the two of us. Of course, we get to do a lot more because he pushes me to do videos, I push him to do videos, and we can talk both of us in the camera, and I think that's going to be helpful. The Road to the World Cup series will start with our competition in France. We will go to France if everything goes well. We are signed up and we are the tickets are purchased. All we need to do is survive until then and actually go. So that's the plan. After that, that will be the Road to World Cup episode 0, and then we'll start the Road to World Cup episodes where we will travel to South Africa, and on the way back from South Africa, if everything goes according to plan, we will visit some other African countries so that we can make some videos for you guys with nice view. Hopefully I get to do a tandem with a zebra. Yeah, that's not gonna happen, but that would be pretty cool. Lastly, 2 more things. Gyro has given me a prototype Kraken canopy for 2 reasons. Number 1, for me, of course, to make the videos for you guys, and for videos for Gyro to post about wingsuit deployments, wingsuit pack jobs, wingsuit in general, a lot of things about wingsuiting. So if you have any questions about wingsuiting, anything you want to learn about wingsuiting, leave it in the comment section down below. Anything, ideas for videos, it all helps, because I would much rather record a lot more things with the canopy that I have now. I would rather record 10 hours of footage and edit them along a full year, let's say, which I'm exaggerating of course, rather than trying to make just a few videos and then after the videos are done, you guys will comment, hey, can you make a video about this? And I'm like, I don't have the canopy anymore. So leave a comment if you want to see something with regards to wingsuiting in general, or with regards to any specific part of wingsuiting, or any specific part of canopy flight when it comes to wingsuiting. Canopy's here, I'm jumping, I'm doing testing on the canopy, and I want to give you guys what you guys want to see. And lastly, I've been doing a lot more reels for Instagram, simply because it's a shorter content form, it's easier to edit, it's faster, it gets more traffic, and it's unfortunately it's what people are interested in now. Short form content that stimulates your brain really fast. I don't like the videos, the video format, because I feel like I cannot get in depth like I'd like to do. Like, you guys know that I'll do a video about canopy piloting, I'll talk 40 minutes. Even now I'm already going super long on this intro. But I have recorded the reels, and some of the reels have really interesting information. And the problem with reels on Instagram is that if you search for it, it's not going to show up. And I feel like I want that information to be out there for the next generation of people, for kids like me when I was younger, to search and learn. Even if it's something that they're not even going to use in that moment of their career, it's something that people can learn already. So I'm going to start posting not reels, but the short content reels. I have all of them, and you can post them on YouTube. So This is to say that if you start seeing me post a lot of reels, or a lot of short form content, vertical videos, whatever you want, shorts, YouTube shorts, that's it. I'm not turning this channel into a YouTube shorts channel. I'm just recycling the videos that took a lot of work into YouTube, so that I can have them on YouTube as well, and people can search for keywords. For instance, line sets or RDS tips and tricks, or whatever, altimeter, this and that. You can search and it will show up. That's it. Now let's go on to the actual video. So let's actually talk about my trip to Italy and the ICPC24. I went to Italy, but I also went to the Netherlands before to go to a festival. Yes, I know, going to a festival before a competition, not that smart, but the competition in Italy, it's very chill and I love the place there and I'm very used to being there. That's very important when you're competing. If the more you're used to being somewhere, the better usually you can do the comp. So I'll talk really quickly about my competition training strategy, because actually all of it is with the Mutant. And the part that I didn't talk about, which is a preface of this video, is my training in France. I went to France in April to train two things. Number one, the new 57. I wanted to jump with the 57 before a comp. And number two, I wanted to start training a little bit more drag distance, which I ended up not training the drag distance. I just trained the speed and a little bit of Zonac. And the thing is, I'm using the Mutant now for everything. So the setup that I'm using is 24-inch risers, and I attached on my 57 and I used it for speed and for distance. And for zone accuracy and freestyle, I'm using 33-inch risers that I made on my Petra 67, actually my dad's Petra 67. I was always coming a little short on the box. Then when I went to Arizona, I was actually perfect. I was getting hundreds quite a lot. And so I thought, okay, maybe I have the turn nailed. I just need a little bit of, just a tiny bit of a smaller canopy just to give me that extra reach. I like to fly fast and I like to go heavy on the water because I usually skip. So I'm using the 65 and it's been doing absolutely amazing. I did some training and the Mutant works really well. I keep the belly, I keep the upper attachments, and I keep the belly band clipped in. And I can use I undo my chest strap and my limiter strap on the 3-ring system, of course. But other than that, it works great. So like I always do, I like to start my training when I go to any drop zone. I haven't been there in a year. In this case, I hadn't been there in 2 years. I want to start slow. I want to start with no weights. So I go first to do zone accuracy. I arrived in the middle of the day and I did 3 runs of zone accuracy. And they actually went really, really good. Like, very good. And so the next day, I had packed for zone accuracy. I did one like morning cappuccino jump of zone accuracy just to shake myself up, to wake up, and then I go straight to speed. And like I said, I like to do my training in the inverse order of what I consider to be complex. Okay, not necessarily dangerous, because the speed is a little bit more dangerous than anything else at the moment. But to me, speed is not, especially in training, is not that dangerous. Of course, I'm not mistake proof. I can do mistakes and I can crash, and maybe I'll crash the next comp, who knows. But I tend to not, I don't even get close to crashing. Because of clipping the buoy, of course. So I don't really worry about that, especially in training, because if I do feel like I'm going to crash, I'll never try to make it in the course in training. If I'm in a comp, I will like shake the wing around and try to keep it in. If I'm not in the comp, I will not do it. So for me, doing zone accuracy is like the easiest, calmest thing. Then I move on to speed, which is I don't have to touch the water. It's one last thing that I have to be worried. I'm super used to flying the Mutant without touching water, so that's what I do next. Just so that I can get my brain used to the wing loading of 3.6 with my 56. The speed was going great. I always like to fly the circuit high when I'm training, and I'll go a little bit lower during the comp. And so this is what I was doing, flying the circuit as safe as possible for the days to come after. And then the next day comes. This was the first time I was going to do distance, and I was still thinking, should I use the Mutant for distance in this competition, yes or no? I was in the middle of training, so I still had one more day, which was the official training, and then was the comp. So I thought, let's use this day as a full day of training distance, because even if you fuck up all of the jumps, you're still learning something for the future. I can either decide to do distance with the Mutant now, or decide to postpone it and do it eventually. And because I'm here to have fun, I'm not going to do something that I don't feel comfortable with.
So if I had to do distance on my 65 using the Mutant in the normal configuration without disconnecting it, as if it's a normal harness, I would not feel sad at all. I would actually feel happy and relieved. And this is what I want. I want to feel happy, I want to feel relieved, and I want to feel relaxed during the comp. I'm not there to get hurt, I'm there to have fun. So on the 24th, which was the third day of training, or 2.5 days, sorry, I did distance with a Mutant, and the first run went good, the second run went really good. So I was doing my max, like the first run that I did, which I was super deep and I was super relaxed. I was just focusing on touching the water, I wasn't focused on bringing the power. I did like my maximum distances of 150, 160. Then I kept training a few more jumps. I was doing like 180s, 190s, and then the winds were right on the limit, and I was like, I'm gonna send it really far now. And yeah, I went for like 220 something meters, and I almost crashed in the ditch. I just made it past the ditch. I was really lucky. If some of you guys have seen the video on Instagram, you know what happened. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Another lesson, which is always go and check the landing area with your own eyes and with your own feet. This goes for swooping and for base jumping. I had checked the landing area, and I always do. The thing that happened here is actually one of those complacency errors that kills people in base jumping and in swooping too, and in skydiving in general, which is exactly complacency. It's exactly what I was saying. I had checked in 2021 the track, but at the time I was not swooping 200 meters. I was swooping maximum 150. So I checked the whole track, but I didn't go past the road. I knew there was a road, and to me that was like a world record, and at the time it was a world record. So I thought, I've seen it until the road, now I'll walk back. So it had been 3 years without going to the road, walking, and coincidentally, we do drive on that road to go to the plane, but I'm always sitting. I kind of, always go and sit on the place that I'm facing away from the ditch that I almost crashed into. So I never even saw the ditch. And the ditch is kind of camouflaged on the video too, so I fucking, I just saw the ditch last minute, and I gave it a little bit of an extra oomph just to go past the ditch, and I saved it, luckily. It was a very lucky save, and I'm actually lucky to be here. Then I stopped jumping. I just did one more jump. Also, one thing that saved me, sorry, I forgot to say, is that I put the RDS on the butt. So the butt pad of the Mutant, you can put an RDS between your butt and the butt pad, and I put the RDS there. It's an extra little layer of protection, and it kind of saved my butt, literally. After that, I did my 5,000th jump with Cornelia. That was an incredible moment for me. And then we move on to official training. And official training, if we actually do official training and if it's rushed, if it's in the World Cups, it's usually done in 2 days, and I'll just use the official training as it is. So you can do whatever you want in official training. I just chose to do what they were recommending us to do. So I did zone accuracy in the morning, then I did a little bit of distance, and then finally I did one run of speed. I think that was what I did. I know speed, I got it pretty nailed, so I don't really do speed that much, training speed that much, because you're training speed when you're doing distance, because it has to do with the power building in the turn, and then managing the circuit for me is not that hard. So yeah, that was the training. The training went really well in my opinion, and then we actually did the comp. The comp took 3 days, but I'm just going to go through all of the jumps, not in the order that they were made, because in this comp specifically, I didn't really have any strategy. I just was going to have fun. It was the first comp of the season, and I wanted to see how I was doing with the Mutant, so I didn't have a strategy that was going to be changed with regards to what type of discipline we were doing first or last. I just went doing my best. Starting with zone accuracy, first run of zone accuracy, I did pretty much exactly what I wanted. I always, when it's zero wind, I always aimed for the tapes right before the box, and then if I do get a nice comfortable liftoff that has a lot of power that I can slow down, I go for the box. If not, I can always crash into zone. I can always go on zone 6 and slide into the center zone. That's going to give me 91 points, which is still good. And even if I go down, it's 81 points, so that's pretty good. And if you combine the area of the box and the zone 6, it's pretty big, so it's actually easy to land there. And I got 81 because I just put my hand down. Shame, but it happens. Second round, there was a little bit of an upstream, I think. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know I was seeing the people in front of me kind of slowing down a little bit too much on the water, and I thought, I need to get tighter. As I'm getting tighter, I think I felt a little bit of an upstream. When I snapped, I was a little bit too high. I had to kind of sashay to put the canopy down, and ended up not having enough power to make it to the box. I just made it to zone 3, I think, or zone 4. I just barely made it to zone 5. My feet caught the tape on zone 4, so that kind of blew my shot there. but no problem at all, because then we've got on the next day zone accuracy round 3, where everything was good. I knew my setup point, I was comfortable, and I did 91 points, which is zone 8, just the zone after, just next to the box. Perfect, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Now, distance. Distance was what we did next, and we did distance number 1. I had my setup points figured out. I just knew that if you wanna safely do distance with a mutant, it's the first time that you're doing it, you gotta go deep. I went deep, got 165 meters. I had trained distance with downwind before with a mutant, so I was kind of comfortable with that. And got the 165, which is my personal best in comp so far. Let's see if we can make a little bit more on the next competitions. We moved on to speed after a big fight with the wind. We moved on to speed, and on the first run I was like, I'm going to use the same setup point as distance, simply because the wind was a little bit faster than for distance. Also, the wind was a little bit crazy. It was kind of cross downwind, pushing you out of the circuit. It wasn't good at all, but it was manageable. I was really deep. I was deep, and I got 2.281, which is a nice time, I think. Then we moved to speed round 2 with a nice push. The same wind push. I just went tighter because I knew I could, and got 2.084. Which was the best time of the whole run, the whole load. The thing that's important to note here is that with a mutant, it's always better to be deeper than tighter. If you're tight on the mutant, there is nothing you can do that's elegant and good that's gonna make you make the gates, because the mutant counts on you leaning back and penetrating the air really well in order to recover as fast as it does. It's hard to explain, but I think I've talked about it in different videos. If you have an X, let's say you have an X and Y axis, where the X axis is your height and the Y axis is your horizontal distance. A normal recovery arc will be like a parabola shaped. It will be like an equation of Y equals X squared, if you know what I mean. It's not a linear growth. It's not exponential growth also, but it's a recovery arc. It's an arc. You know what I mean. So when you are transitioning from a normal harness to the mutant, you are having more or less the same horizontal distance as you were with a normal harness, because you have a lot of penetration, but your vertical distance is the thing that's shortened. So you recover faster because you're snapping lower, but you still have a lot of horizontal distance to cover. So it's better on the mutant to go deep, because if you're tight on the gates, when you snap, the way you can not go forwards is making yourself a little bit bigger, not leaning back. If you do that on a mutant, on a 57, the canopy is just going to go down. It's not going to recover, and you're going to crash. So, or either that or you're going to go on toggles. So I was still kind of deep, but I just knew that I could be a little bit tighter, but I would still be comfortable, and that's what I did. I just went a little bit tighter. I was still deeper than I would want for that type of time, but because it's the mutant, it allows a little bit more horizontal distance from the gates. And then we went to round 3, and I thought the wind was pushing, and I was like, let's go hard. I'm saying let's not change the setup, but the wind was stronger. So when I snapped, and so I was feeling, sorry, I forgot to say, I was feeling a little bit of an upstream on my round 2, and I had to do a tiny bit of a sachet. So when I went to round 3, I was like, let's go lower. And what do we do when we're finishing our turn high? If you guys have lessons on 90s, what did your coach tell you this? When we are finishing a little bit too high, we need to change one of the parameters of our turn, just a little bit. So let's say you're finishing high, you can lower your turn a little bit, or you can go longer in front when you're doing your few seconds before you start turning. You can snap harder, you can turn a little bit slower. But these are all things you can do separately, not at the same time. So you shouldn't be like, okay, I'm finishing high, I'm going to lower my turn, and I'm going to turn slower. No, those are two things. They're going to be too much of a change, you're going to crash. In this case, I knew I was a little bit high because I felt some upstream, but I just knew I was finishing a little bit high. So I thought, I'm going to do one more second in front. I did one more second in front before I started the turn, and then I also did the turn a little bit slower. So those two things combined made it so that I was a little bit too low. When I snapped, I leaned back right away because I thought, man, I snap and I lean back and it's all going to go good, or I'm going to go to toggles. Snapped, leaned back, and I thought immediately, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to crash. So I went to toggles and I flew the course on toggles. I hope no competitor sees my videos. I think not. But if you do, that was a 0, and they gave me anyways because I kind of flew over the gates. I was watching some videos and it was definitely a 0. I would have given me a 0 anyways. But then I did get my 0. I got my 3 actually. The next day when we did distance with a little bit of a headwind. The first jump, I thought, okay, it's a headwind, I'm gonna have to go tighter, so I kind of went based off all the mental maps that I had for my turn in headwind. I hadn't done headwind distance in a long time, so I just used kind of what I remembered, and of course with the Mutant, it's a little bit different. So I was quite tight, but I still managed to make it and touch the water. And because when you're in the Mutant, when you're tight, you're really gonna come in with a lot of power, and you're gonna extend yourself like last minute. That can give a little bit too much input to the canopy and boost you over the exit gates. And that's what happened. I put my legs down, but with the Mutant, it's not as easy. And I thought it was enough, because if I knew for sure it was not enough, I would have extended myself a lot more, and I could. But I thought it was enough. It wasn't enough, so I boosted over the gates. It happens. I knew how to fix it for the next jump. The next jump, I just went a little bit deeper, and 139. The wind was a little bit higher, so I got 139. Final standings, I got 5th place, which everybody that was in the comp, they were really, really good. Like the top dogs were there. And I got 5th place with 1-3, with 1-0, let's say. So not too shabby, eh? Anyways, guys, that's been my time for today. I don't want to make this video too long because I do want to continue my my Mutant series. I want to finish the Mutant series on the right leg. This is the last episode, and like you guys saw, probably there was not a lot of Mutant talk. It was more competition talk. This is also because there's so many things that are coming for the Mutant that make me excited that I don't want to talk to yet. I want to talk about yet. So we're going to wait, and we're going to see what I can share. And I'll keep you guys posted. And let's go to France. So I don't guarantee that this is going to be the last video before France. But when France starts, it's going to be road to the World Cup. And then I'll see you guys in South Africa.